Hey guys, what's cracking? It's Dr. Hetland with Coach Michaela, certified core power yoga instructor. The 10 best poses for balance and coordination. Giving you guys tools to start getting your coordination, start building up your strength, start building up your agility. It is really crucial for these type of exercises. A lot of times when we're in yoga classes, there's advanced level people in there, at these classes, and there's a lot of people who are intimidated by these classes.
Know that you won't be perfect right away, so focus on your core engagement, your posture, and just doing the best that you can and have a little fun with trying to get the hang of it. Let's get started with a little bit of a warm-up so you can warm up the muscles that you'll be utilizing. You will start with some high knees, so just march your knees up towards your chest for about 30 seconds, warming up the core and your hip flexors. Next up is jumping jacks, so going out and in. If that is too hard on your knees, just go one leg out, one arm out at a time. Come to your mat with your feet to touch out in a butterfly position, stretching forward as far as you can, pushing down on one leg for a little bit if that feels good to you, and then the other. So do that for about 30 seconds and then repeat. All right, to start is tree pose. So coming to all of your weight into your left foot, placing your right heel on top of your left ankle. And to balance, keeping that big toe on the floor if that helps. Hands towards your heart center. Think of pushing into the floor with that big toe and then squeezing your ankle and your heel towards one another. A huge part is core engagement here, so tucking that core under and squeezing that back glutes to engage the core. Hold this for about 30 to 60 seconds, and once you feel confident in that, you can slowly move your leg up towards your thigh. So hold this for about 30 to 60 seconds until you feel confident in the position. Do it each leg for about 2 or 3 times, holding it as long as you can. So as you gain confidence in holding this position, you can slowly inch your heel up your leg. So the second position would be towards your calf and holding it there and gaining confidence in that. And then bringing it up using your hand to place it on your inner thigh, avoiding that knee, and holding that for about 30 to 60 seconds. Next up is dancer's pose. So similar to tree pose, coming to your left foot, balancing it, and hamstring curling your right foot towards your back glute. Bringing your right palm towards your inner ankle. Now reaching your left arm up above you, hold here. Think of pushing your back ankle in towards your right palm. So something I see often with people is that they lift this hip up and open it up. Try and square off your hips parallel to the floor and then push into that back foot. Hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch sides and do it about 2 to 3 times. As you gain confidence in this pose, slowly push into your back palm to lift that knee up higher and then reaching this hand out in front of you as far as you can. All right, next up is Warrior 2. So I will have you step your left foot out in front of you, parallel your toes to the front of the mat, and then your right foot back behind you. So that should be a straight leg. Think about angling this front or back foot here towards that 45-degree angle to the front of the room. Now reach out your arms straight out and stacking your shoulders over your hips and squaring your hips and shoulders to the side of the room. Now a big thing here is stacking this knee on top of that ankle, and if you find that you're moving too far forward past your toes, just widen that stance. So this is a full one plane position, so it's a pretty difficult one to hold. Think about squeezing your inner thighs together as if your heels were coming towards one another, utilizing those glutes to tuck your pelvis under, so flattening out that spine and reaching out your arms out to the sides of the room. Hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds and then switch sides and repeat it about 2 to 3 times. The next pose is called half moon. You will still be in Warrior 2 position, so come onto that pose for me. And what you'll be doing is slowly inching more of your weight into this front leg by tapping that back toe and inching towards all of the weight in this front leg. Now lifting that back foot off of the floor to find a balance here. People find it easier when they have something to hold on to, so hold on to maybe a water bottle or whatever you have in your home. So hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch sides and repeat for about 2 to 3 times. As for the advancement of this position, you will stay as you are, so go ahead and come back to this pose and think about lifting your shoulders and squaring them off to the front and stacking that top shoulder along that bottom shoulder, lifting that back heel off the floor into a 90 degree. So just as we did with the last pose where you start in one to then launch into the other, we'll be doing the same with this one. This one is warrior 3 / airplane pose dependent on your arm position. So starting off in crescent lunge, bringing your right foot out in front of you, stepping your left foot back, putting a 90 degree bend in your front leg. Now reaching your arms straight up above you and slowly inch that back toe towards the front and getting more weight into that front leg to launch off onto it and lift this back leg up above you. If that's a little too tricky, keeping that foot down on the mat and just holding here first. Now bringing your hands either towards your chest here and holding here for about 30 seconds or bringing them behind you, keeping it an airplane pose, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Another thing with this one is your gaze, so where your eyes are focused on to help the balance. So again, either finding the top of your mat or something out in front of you that is easy to focus on to help with your balance. So hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch sides and repeat about 2 to 3 times. As for the advancement pose, you will be in the same exact position. So launch off into your front leg, keeping that front leg slightly bent, just lifting that leg up behind you towards a 90 degree angle. You can keep your arms out in airplane pose or into warrior 3 and hold it. Something that the goal is to flatten out your spine so that you are at a 180 degree angle completely. Next up is eagle pose, lifting your right knee towards your chest and then crossing it over your left leg. Think about really squeezing your inner thighs here together and sitting back into a chair while also keeping your shoulders stacked over your hips. Now bring your arms out to the sides to find balance here and hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch sides. As for the advancement part of this pose, you'll do the exact same thing with your legs, so crossing that right leg over your left or the other way around and bringing your hands out in front of you, crossing them at your shoulders and lifting your elbows towards a 90 degree angle, or bringing your right arm out in front of you, stacking your left arm under it and then just clasping the top of your palms together. This next pose here has a few different ways to utilize your hands to help you maximize the pose. So coming to your weight into your left leg, bringing your right knee towards your chest. The first thing that you can do is bring your left index finger and wrap it around your right big toe and just holding here. If that feels a little wonky to you, you can bring just your fingers towards the bottom of your foot or clasping your right hand under it as well, interlacing your fingers. Hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch sides, doing it about 2 to 3 times. As for the advancement, you can slowly bring your leg out in front of you to straighten the leg. It's easiest if you start with your toe and holding it this way to slowly straighten it and just holding here. Really think about lengthening your spine, bringing your chest up and tucking that core under. All right, next pose is a calf raise. So coming with your feet shoulder width distance apart, slowly rise onto your balls of your feet and bringing your heels up as high as you can, keeping your legs straight and shoulders out wide. If this is a little too tricky to hold, put a slight bend in your knees, and especially with this, it helps you engage that core, so tuck that belly under and notice how that flattens out his spine here to really engage your core as you're holding this position. Hold this for about 30 seconds, relax, and then do it 2 more times. As for the advancement, you can place more of your weight into one of your feet, so transferring your weight into your left leg and then hovering that right toe off of the floor, thinking about lengthening your leg and trying to straighten it out as best you can. All right, next up is supine marches. So coming to your back, propping your feet towards your glutes on the floor, slowly lift your hips off of the mat. Now, keeping your shoulder blades back and down and pressing your heels into the floor to engage those glutes and your core. Slowly lift one leg at a time about an inch off of the floor, holding for a second, dropping it down, lifting the other for about a second, dropping it down. Do these marches about 10 times each leg, relax, and then do it again another time. As for the advancement of this pose, you can slowly lift one leg at a time, straightening the leg out, then relaxing it down. A lot of the time we think of our core and our stability within just the front of our body, but this is actually engaging the back of your spine along with the back of your legs here to really help with that balance. All right, lastly is side plank. So staying as you are, rolling onto your side, pushing with your left hand to get onto your right elbow. Now bringing your knees to bend and to touch here, like this, and keeping all of your weight into your elbow, lift your hips off of the mat and really utilize your arm to straighten and lengthen your spine. Keeping your shoulders stacked over your elbow here and lifting up in these hips off of the floor. Hold this for about 20 to 30 seconds. If you feel confident, you can lift that arm up and hold that there. Do it on each side for about 30 seconds, 3 times. As you feel more confident in holding this pose, you can lift your feet to straighten your legs out in front of you and lift your hips off of the floor. A key component here is squeezing those glutes to push your hips towards the front of the room to really have a straight body. If this bothers your elbow at all, come to the palm of your hand, keeping your arm about a slight bent, and then lifting your arm out on top of you, stacking your shoulders on top of one another.
So if you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.